Wow. Well, I don't think there's an awful lot I can say to describe the events. Just a flat-out cup tie that I think every single fan that was in the stadium will have enjoyed. Atlanta were better than us first half, and we were better than them second half. And it took a monumental effort to turn around a difficult start. But in the end, I think we showed all of the characteristics of a team that they've got so much spirit, so much fight, so much character. Some guys came off the bench that have not even seen the field before, or very little, and put in a wonderful shift and even made a difference. Ethan scoring the winning goal. It's a fairy tale story, and there's really not an awful lot that I can say to top what you've seen on the field.
We are going to open the floor for questions, but before we do that, I'm going to remind those on the Zoom call to please raise your hand if you have a question for Coach. Greg, go for it.
Gary, you certainly made it hard on yourself to get this, but what was said at halftime, the energy, the press? Obviously, we saw how Ake Loba basically started and earned that PK for Hani to convert. What was said at halftime to these guys?
Yeah, I'm never one to divulge what goes on in the locker room, but I think it's suffice to say that the guys understood and realised that they performed below par. They had, there was no real conviction to the way that we went about defending not only this home field, but really attacking what is our debut in the Open Cup. And it all looked a little bit too after the Lord Mayor show. When I say they, Atlanta, who have some tremendously talented players, were able to show exactly what they were about. I think you've seen in some of the league games that we're more than capable. There's very good structure and understanding within the group. But cup games are all about passion and belief and determination. And, if you want to win a cup competition, a knockout competition, you've got to leave it all out there. There's no draws. There's no, we get a point for that and well done. There's a very different, has to be a very different attitude to it. And the second half we saw that. Unfortunately, in the first half we didn't. And, it took a very difficult opening period of the game where nobody felt good. Please don't believe that those players felt good about the way the first period had gone, especially against a local rival. And they're a very, very good side. Even with a couple of players missing, they've still got a lot of talent. And if you allow that talent to express itself, you get what you got.
Gary, you had a lot of your first-team guys still in the lineup, but we haven't seen you guys in a midweek cup game like this in a few years. What's always been your kind of your preference for these kind of games when they're not a league game? There's a lot of different things you could do with the lineup, and it seemed like you kept things pretty steady with the exception of a few.
Yeah. Well, the extra time has seen, minutes in the legs of players that maybe might not have seen too many, the likes of Dax and CJ. I didn't want to change too much. Thought we had a good result at the weekend. And if you look at the side that Atlanta had put out, I think I'm right in saying one change from the weekend at right back. Is that right? Escobar came in for Lennon, and the rest of it was the side that beat Chicago. I think what you've got to remember is this: there's a rivalry that's really warming between us and them. I think a respectful one. I don't think anyone wants to lose these games, and they certainly showed that in the first period. But if you look around the world anywhere, I mean, I'll obviously refer to England and Europe for the most part. But when teams play against each other in whatever competition, friendly, FA Cup, League, League Cup, if they're playing against a local rival, you can bet your bottom dollar that they're putting out a good side, and the fans will expect that you do well. Well, I think we've set a really good standard here for our fans, and they've been fantastic for us. They turned up tonight like not too many other teams, and we appreciated that massively, because it helps when you find yourself in that difficult position. You know, you need a little bit of a pick-me-up. But I don't think any of them would be too pleased if we'd have gone out with a whimper. That's not the sort of standard we want to set. And the second period, whether we would have won the game or not, and truly, you know, I don't want to get into this, but I thought the officials tried to do their very best to deny us the opportunity. And I'm trying to be as respectful as possible, of course. But there were other moments in that second period that the guys had laid everything on the line to get back in the game and were denied that. So in the end, in answer to your question, a long way around it, I felt that this warranted a side, a strong side, and a side with continuity. There are plenty of players in this team, and I explained it to the group, that are more than capable. But right now, that was the majority of the group that got the job done at the weekend, and have for the most part. And I thought in the second period especially, the guys that actually came off the bench and were able to come into the game in the latter stages actually gave us a great lift. They really did. And that's where they've got their job done. So a fabulous team effort in the end. Obviously coming from behind and in a not too pleasant place.
On opening day, you guys got the penalty and y'all took the shot, and you talked about Hanny working on trying to get better and feeling comfortable in the shot. Beautiful penalty take tonight, completely changed the game. What was the decision in going with Hanny tonight? Did you feel it from him, or?
He was the only one out there who's ever taken a penalty. That was the key. No. Hanny has worked, and I think I'd mentioned this, very, very hard at just trying to, I think maybe the way to describe it is to have another string to his bow. He didn't want to be a one-trick pony. He wanted to try and, present something different when he wanted to the opposing goalkeeper. And I can't even tell you what it looked like because I didn't watch it. You know, I didn't watch Leao's, and I thought I might as well stick with that and just stare at the floor and just wait for the cheer. If I get the cheer, I'll be happy enough. So I'll look back at it. But without having seen it, I think he decides what he wants to do. But he's obviously feeling a lot more comfortable and a lot more confident, and that's obviously how Hanny we want.
Gary, I apologize for one of those long questions that we sometimes come up with. But the reason I'm saying that because you already said that you cannot divulge whatever goes on in the locker room for sure, and most coaches do that. But whatever you're doing, did you record that? I mean, it's good because it's worked many times already here in this field. The second thing is that it seems like even in this field, I don't want to say some assessment on that. Nashville has been a team that kind of lacking in the first half, at least a couple of games, and then come right back very strong in the second half, like you did today. And that's perhaps something that I'd like you to comment on. And the third is, you said in one of the press conferences a while ago that you expect the guys, even if they come for 1 minute, to give everything they have. And now when you see what Hackinson did the other night and what you did, what Subak did today, that's exactly what you referred to, right?
For sure. To try and, maybe answer a couple of those questions. I mean, look, the first period of the game, we want to take control. And if I can reflect quickly on the Philly game, we were very good for 20 minutes, 25 minutes. Didn't score. And Blake was phenomenal that day. I thought we were actually the more dominant side. Maybe not as many chances actually against Salt Lake, but we actually maintained the ball. I think the possession stats, if I'm right, maybe Chris will be able to back me up on this, but I think the possession stats, it was the most dominant we'd been with the ball, but in aggressive areas, not just hollow possession in our half of the field. We'd ask questions. We hadn't actually created many clear-cut chances. But that in itself can sometimes, have a knock-on effect down the line. You see it many times with, some of the top sides in Europe where the opening exchanges, they control the ball, they work the opposing side, and slowly but surely that those opposing teams get broken down physically, mentally, frustrated. I think what we've got to be ready for is that the more successful we are here and as a team in general, the more strings we have to our bow. We have been successful with, 3 or 4 attacking players when we've countered, very vertical, positive attacks. We've not seen too many scenarios where we've built pressure, where we've really put teams under pressure. We've asked questions. We've managed the ball well. We've not let them out of their defensive area, and that can be very stressful for defenders. And, of course, you question their reliability. Can defenders get the job done consistently? So we've got to be ready for that. We're evolving too. Today was very different. It's the first time we've gone behind 2 goals in a good while. Forget about Open Cup or League game. The attitude should be no different. But you can sometimes get a difference in mentality because, we had a good crowd tonight, but it's not 28, 30,000 people screaming at you. And I do think that the crowd here, as they do in lots of arenas and environments, they keep the players honest. They keep them on their toes. They don't allow them to drop their standards. When 30,000 people scream at you, when 30,000 people groan at you when something goes wrong, you don't want that happening too often. Players don't like that. So I think the guys, in the main have done a wonderful job. We've had 3 games here. There were concerns, certainly from where I sit, that we would be unable to continue that strong form at home. And no doubt there'll be some challenges down the line that, derail us. I'm sure there will be. That's sport. But I think as long as we continue to show the sort of character and spirit that we have, we'll never be too far away because we do have talent in the group. And as you've seen tonight, when things don't go quite our way, there's some real determination to get back in the game.
Thank you, Coach. We're now going to go to Tim Sullivan on the phone call.
Oh, I thought
Sorry.
He's on mute. I can't hear him.
Tim, you're muted.
There we go. Sorry. Really quickly, Randall wasn't in the squad tonight after his injury on Sunday. Do you have a quick update on him? And then on Atlanta's first goal, it seemed like Joe was kind of caught between coming out and collecting the initial through ball and eventually chose to sit back and try and deal with the on-rushing defender. What did you think of the way that goal developed?
First of all, Randall has a slight ankle problem. I don't think anyone's too concerned about it, but I think the next week or so will tell us a little bit more about his ability to recover, either rapidly or otherwise. We'll know an awful lot more. Fortunately, it wasn't It wasn't anything too severe. As far as the goal's concerned, my recollection of it was, some fairly reasonable play down the left-hand side, if this is the one you're talking about. Gutman gets in behind Alex and works in a good cross. And I think the boy does ever so well to get his, he just tries to redirect the power of the cross and gets in front of, I think, was it Jack or Walker? Walker. You're talking about probably millimetres there. And he, does a good job to redirect it. I'm not sure, I'd have to look back on it, but I didn't look at it and think that Joe was at fault for that. I was a tad disappointed that, we'd been undone down our right, and Gutman was allowed to get into such an aggressive position. The young boy up front for them, the Mexican boys, in good form, and he finished with good confidence.
Thank you, Coach. One more question from Greg, and then we'll let you go.
Yeah, Gary, just to circle back from, obviously you touched on what you had in mind for guys like Dax and CJ coming off the bench, minutes-wise. Given that, what you needed to do to obviously come out with a win in this one and playing extra time, do you have a concern or perhaps the time for an adjustment on what you're thinking in terms of Saturday for just load management, not just necessarily for those guys, but particularly a guy like Hani Mukhtar?
Yeah. I can tell you flat out that science goes out of the window when you win a game and come behind from 2 goals down. In extra time, in your debut in the Open Cup, and the guys will be as high as a kite. I'll be peeling them off the ceiling. In fact, I won't even have to ask them if they want to play at the weekend. They will be absolutely jumping jacks out of the changing room on Friday. They'll have a recovery day tomorrow, and they will be ready. Trust me. They're in such a confident and buoyant mood. The only problem is when you go through that and you get beat. You get beat, having put what you've put into it, and then all of a sudden, mentally, you feel absolutely crushed. I haven't got that problem. The guys will be great. They'll be ready for Saturday.